Okay, in this screencast, we're going to take a look at how we can create a workflow to perform a reasonably complicated series of conditioning and analyses options for an EDA waveform. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up a file. This file has media associated with it, and the data was recorded while a participant was watching 3 different movie trailers. And we've got focus areas that identify when the trailer was playing. And then we can see the electrodermal response at different points. And the movie is synchronized, and we can play the movie and see the cursor moving through the file. Okay, so that gives us an idea of what we've got going on here. This is skin conductance level. This has been unconditioned, so we're going to start right at the top. So the first thing you need to do is go to the workflow menu, which is adjacent to scripting. If you purchase a scripting license from 5.0.8, you will automatically get workflow. And there's a workflow editor. And the workflow editor is drag and drop. So this is where we're going to create the analyses process that we're trying to create. On the right-hand side, this is where we'll start to construct almost like a flow chart that shows the process. On the left-hand side, we have the main menu items in AcqKnowledge. This is the hierarchy. So this actions gives me all the different actions that are available. So what I need to do is pick the appropriate menu for the items that I'm interested in. And there's different options here. The file management allows me to prompt the user to locate the files that they're interested in, or to find a folder or get the graphs from a folder. Or if the file is already open, we can grab the active graph, get active graph. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. My file is already open. I've only got one file, so that will be my active file. The next thing I want to do, there's only one channel of data on here. I'm going to duplicate that particular waveform. So coming down here to channel adjustment, we've got an option here to duplicate the active channel. So now we've introduced a second channel. I'm going to use the change active channel to make sure that channel 2, which will be the duplicate channel, is the channel that I'm going to use to perform different tasks. And if I come down to the transform menu, down here, we have smoothing. I can just drag this across. All I'm doing is just clicking and dragging over to the workflow area, and you can see it's numbering the items as we come through. Now, when we get to smoothing, we have some choices. There's 2 different types of smoothing available from the smoothing dialog. And I'm going to select median. This is very important. And I'm going to adjust the sample rate to 63. Data was sampled at 62.5 samples a second. I already know that. So I'm going to use a 1 second moving average looking at the median, and that will get rid of those high and low flyers, those random spikes that sometimes crop up if a person moves. Then the next thing I'm going to do is add a filter. If we come up to the top, we've got options here for FIR and IIR. I'm going to select FIR. It's already set to low pass, but you've got the usual options there: low pass, high pass, band stop. And I'm going to set the frequency to 1 Hertz. And I'm going to allow the software to optimize this so that everything is set up nicely. So now we've ran the smoothing, we filtered the waveform, I'm now going to locate the skin conductance responses. So on the left-hand side here, we've got electrodermal activity. And one of the options is locate skin conductance responses. So I'm going to add that in. So this is workflow item number 6. And the tonic channel that I want to use is channel 2. I'm going to construct a new phasic waveform, and then I'm going to leave my preferences just as the AcqKnowledge defaults there. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to come back in and change my active channel because I don't want the phasic to be the active channel. So if I come back up and select channel adjustment, I'm going to select change active channel. I'm going to drop that down and say channel 2. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm selecting all of the data. So I'm going to change the selected area. And I'm going to select all the data in the graph, but you've got some options there from a specific time range or an offset from the selected area. So now we've ensured that channel 2, our skin conductance level data, is the active channel. We've selected everything. We're now going to use the fine cycle detector. So somewhere down here, it's alphabetical. Fine cycles, there we go. Now this is the fine cycle dialog. I'm going to select fixed time intervals, and I'm going to make this interval 10 seconds. And then just over the focus areas. So it's a fixed 10-second time interval just across the 3 focus areas within my file. And this can remain as it's set from the previous interval. So we go from one interval from the end of the previous one for 10 seconds so on and so forth. My output, I'm going to output measurements, and I'm going to output them to Excel. And the first measurement I take is going to be measure time. We'll add another one. We'll do the maximum. So this will give us the maximum value right there. We'll add another one again on channel 2, and we'll do delta T. Delta time. And then finally, we'll take a look at event count, channel 2, down the bottom, event count. It's going to ask us for the event type, and it's a skin conductance response on the measurement channel only, which will be channel 2, and it should be it. So we've got time, maximum, delta T, and event count being measured just within our focus area. Now I can save this. So I'm going to just call this movie 2. Hit save. So that's saved my workflow for future use. I can hit my run button. And there we have it. We've got 3 different spreadsheets. We completed the process. We can see our skin conductance responses marked on the waveform. We can open this up and we can see that it ran the smoothing across there, 63 samples. We ran an FIR filter at 1 Hertz. So it looks like it performed the task. We've got our phasic waveform down here. Very easily, we were able to create the workflow. We've saved it, and now anytime we want to come in and analyze our files, we can just come in and select that specific workflow. Okay, so that gives you a quick idea of how to create a workflow, save it, and execute it. That concludes this particular screencast.